Yeah.
agreement in my life.
Pretty much another way to prove it is just whatever you look for, you can find. Whatever that is. And so, even in Scripture, whatever pretty much you look for, you can find. So, what are you looking for? That you'll find.
Is there a way to self-generate a call?
Well, yes, because that's really the way all of them are. I mean, a lot of people, I'm sure, have a call that they don't respond to. So it's more in the response than the generation of it. So maybe it's about uncovering it, revealing it, getting clear on it.
So you think that all of us are experiencing a call all the time. We just might be closing our ears to it.
That, and we tend to make it more grandiose than it needs to be, I think. I mean, the word call has all of that weight of the divine kind of on it, right? It's a capital C probably and everything. So it's like, no, what is it that you love to do? What do you lose all sense of time while you're doing it? That is in some way a part of the unique gifts, talents, abilities that you were created with. So whatever that is, begin to explore that. It's not necessarily about making money or earning a living, although that can certainly be a part of it, and it probably could be for almost all of it. But what is it that you are uniquely suited for? What is it that lights you up, that allows you to mostly enjoy what you're doing, that kind of thing? I mean, the process that I described early on was the logistics of how this happened. The call to ministry, for me, was never all that clear. And I don't know that it still is. It's just about taking the next indicated step for me. I think to generate your own call is really about becoming aware of what you've been brought forth to express. It's already there.
What was the first service project you can remember being involved in your life?
A Christmas time project where we anonymously provided as much Christmas as we could from all the gifts and decorations and food, and it was done anonymously. There was absolutely no awareness of who these people were that were showing up with all these gifts, and how did you know what I wanted, and all of that kind of stuff. And we just donated and wrapped and delivered and sang songs and then left and never told them who we were. That was always nice.
Was there a moment when you had an epiphany that you knew serving others was something that would be a major aspect of your life?
I don't think it was an epiphany, but it was a realization that was pretty clear. And I was in high school, and the first 2 years of high school were in a separate building than the second 2 years. And on lunch or study hall breaks, I would sit usually by myself, and people would come and talk to me just to unload.
You were the town shrink.
I guess, but see, what was weird about that was I never said anything. I don't remember ever saying anything. And they walked away feeling better. And I was like, well, that was easy. So
well, that's usually what most of us need, is somebody to hear us.
That's what
feel heard.
That's what really drew me into this practice, the licensed professional practitioner idea, which is our lay ministry, our people who are trained in the art of listening, actively and otherwise, compassionate listening. And I absolutely agree that most people just need somebody to hear what they're saying, or hear where they are, or hear what they're feeling. And what I believe, thanks to this teaching, is that the answers lie within the person who's talking, not within me. I don't have your answers. So that was a realization that was, if an epiphany is something that guides your life, then that's what that was.
Do you have a particular spiritual practice?
It varies. There is prayer involved. I have prayer partners who are colleagues around the country.
What is a prayer partner in?
That's for me right now. It's over the telephone. It's with people that we've just developed that relationship. We call up, depending on who it is and what's going on. We either talk about what's going on in our life and what we'd like prayer support for, or we just say, here's my request for this week, and I get theirs, and we just pray, and then we're off the phone. Sometimes it's an hour, sometimes it's 5 minutes. So there's that.
Are most of them peers within your denomination?
Yes. One is now outside of my denomination. She's actually been hired by a Church of Canada church.
But she got the same education you did through Holmes Institute and all that.
Yeah. So that's part of it. I meditate on a regular basis, which is the way I describe that is being as still as I can mentally and just becoming receptive to a higher idea, a divine influx, something that I'm not aware of when I'm busy talking. So there's that.
So would you say it's an empty mind or a focused mind meditation?
Both. I'm not very good at emptying my mind, so generally I will focus, I will contemplate. When I began the practice of trying to get a regular meditation practice, I had to use something physical, whether it was earphones and music playing that was either chants or some other kind of music that would drown my thoughts out, or looking at a candle flame, something that I could focus my mind. My most effective self-meditations are active, when I'm actually doing something physical that can help focus my mind.
Why would each of these people, please speak to them individually, want to serve someone or something other than their own narrowly defined self-interest?
And so for the one whose life is fine, perhaps he or she would like to share some of that, not give it away, not do without it, but how is it so for you? What is the secret of your success?
So maybe mentor someone.
Yeah, talk about it. So yeah, how it would show up? Yeah, mentor someone, a job preparation sort of training for people, those kind of things. But yeah, to share, maybe there is no real secret, but share what you've done so people can say, oh, well, I never thought of that way, But, so why would they want to? Maybe to make more of that present on earth. Since I believe it's actually, that's the way it happens. The person whose life is very narrow and unsatisfying, it sounded like. One of the things I believe that causes that condition is that inward focus, is that consumption with self or one's own struggles and difficulties and that kind of thing. And placing oneself in service in some way in your life gets you out of that kind of whirlpool vortex sort of sucking down that can illuminate some greater possibilities. In other words, that restrictive experience could actually be positively impacted by getting outside of it enough to be of service to somebody else or something else. When life goes really wrong, it's really hard not to give it all your focus, I have found. And yet what I also know beneath all of that is that what I place my attention on grows in my life. And so if I can stop putting so much attention on the unhappiness and dissatisfaction, and serving somebody or something else gives me that, or shifts that focus, then the dissatisfaction eases and maybe things start to change.
Can you give us some service projects that you could suggest that either or both of these people might involve themselves with, that have a relatively low threshold for entry because they're not sure, they just want to get their toesies wet?
Boy, we're in Las Vegas. There's a lot of community-based organizations that offer that have needs for volunteers. Three Square, I think, has some pretty easy entry. I mean, it's a huge organization and very successful, and several of the people I know here volunteer there in different capacities. I don't think that you need any level of expertise other than having some time available, depending on what it is that you want to do.
What might they expect to get out of it if they do?
Any kind of giving of oneself. They say the purest motives have nothing to do with what's in it for me, and yet everybody who serves, everybody that I've talked to, myself, when I have given of myself in any way, I discover that the benefits far outweigh the degree of effort that I'm giving to it. So it's like I feel better. I don't know if I feel better because I feel like I'm of value or use in some way in my life, or if I feel better because I'm helping to shine the light, and it always feels good to shine the light. It doesn't matter why I feel better. It's just that being of service helps you feel better, and it does good work in the world. So hey, it's a win-win, as they say.
If you knew that you could not fail, if I were able to issue you an ironclad 100%, no chance of failure, 100% chance of success on your next endeavor, what would you attempt?
In my mind, I'm not sure the venue, the modality, or anything like that.
Okay.
But it is basically to flip on the on switch for people.
You mean so that people who are unaware of their connection to their higher power could become aware of that connection?
Yeah, that something illuminated the way for them so that more people took complete ownership of their connection with their source, which is it's already there. But most of us don't remember or don't know it, or we forgot. And if I could find a way, I mean, there have been glimpses. Oprah in these realms has done great work with that. There was a movie and a book called The Secret that a lot of people resonated with. Unfortunately, in my estimation, it was too much of that magical thinking of hangers, and suddenly hangers appear. It's not magic. But there was truth in that work, you know, and a lot of people started to resonate with it. So in whatever, well, you were giving me the guarantee, so I don't have to know how. I
Right.
just have to know what I want. I want that light to turn on.
And you want to be the one to turn it on?
Well, I want to feel like I participated.
Let's pretend for a moment that all 7 billion of us are going to watch this video. What would you say to us?
Just, you are that. You are that. You are that thing, that one, that beloved, that divinity. You were so necessary to the Creator that here you are.
If I could grant you any superpower, either one that you've heard of, bending steel, X-ray vision, or one that you make up right now on the spot, what superpower would you request of me?
I want it to be all spiritual, but the one that I've always wished for is flying.
Okay. What's your favorite movie?
Wow. Well, the first one that came to mind was The Wizard of Oz, so I guess
Why?
I'll stay there. Her voice and the music, I think it's probably not the fantasy of it, but the idea that there are both worlds in each of us.
Okay. Who are your heroes?
I have pretty personal heroes. My parents, my partner. Again, just going on
Why?
when it first comes up.
Why your parents and why your
My
partner?
parents, because they've known each other their whole lives, and they got married at 21, which I think is ridiculously young for anybody to marry. And they raised 4 kids, each of whom has a degree of success and some happiness at least. And they've stayed together through times that were rough for them financially and otherwise. And they've established for me a benchmark of relationship that I aspire to, you know, in a world where relationship and commitment is not necessarily honored except as an idea anymore. For me, they're still married after 57 years, and it's just remarkable to me, you know, that for better or for worse, you know, they did it, and they're still doing it. So that's awesome, and I think there's a lot of courage in being a parent.
Why your partner?
Because he is fearlessly himself and doesn't really, in spite of the religion of his upbringing, was not kowtowed and was not ground down by it, and was not did not buy the party line.
What religion was he raised in?
He was raised LDS, and from his earliest recollection of his church experience was asking questions because things didn't make sense, and he was excused to go sit in the hall.
Thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me.
You're welcome. Thank you.